Okay, in this video we're going to take a look at MyOpenMath, how things work in your online assessment program. It's where all your grades come from. Three types of grades: homeworks, quizzes, and tests. A little bit will be in Blackboard. Your intro post will be worth a couple extra credit points, but everything else will be graded right here in MyOpenMath. So let me show you how it works. When you get started, you're going to register as a new student. In the Getting Started folder, there's directions on how to do this. It's pretty straightforward. Follow this link and go. All right. Once you're in, it should look something like mine. Once you get into the course, I have a bunch of classes, so you won't see this, but once you're in, it should look something like this. Okay. So you have chapter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Six total chapters. It's a drop-down menu. When you click on those, you'll see all the sections per chapter. Okay. So the first thing you'll do is this Introduction to MyOpenMath assignment. You don't really have to do any math. It's just kind of guiding you on how to type stuff in, how to type math stuff in, so you get familiar with the program. And then you'll be on to chapter 1. 1.1 is the first thing you do. Okay, for the homework assignments, you get 2 attempts per problem. Once you're done all of the homeworks, you can do the quiz. The quiz, you only get 1 attempt per problem. Okay. Also in the homework assignment, let's see. Let me open one of these up. In the homework assignments, you'll have, like I said, 2 attempts per problem, but also you have some help videos. So find the equation line has a slope -1, y-intercept 9. If you're not real sure, you can watch a video, right? And you can also message instructor. You can say, well, I typed this in and it marked me wrong. I'm not sure why. And I can kind of explain what you did wrong. What else? It's a little picky, like any computer program, about how you type stuff in, and the problems are a little bit different. See, this answer, if you want the equation of a line, should have the form y equals mx plus b. And here they're prompting you, they already did the y equals part. And then sometimes other problems will be a little different. You'll have to type in the whole thing. In addition to that, you have a preview. So when you get familiar with the program, there's a little drop down. You can use the fraction tool if it's, say, the slope is a half, or let's say it's 2/3. You can type in the 2. I use tab to get to the next one. You can use the arrows. X, I don't know, -5. As you can see, a little bit finicky, -5. Save. And then when you type stuff in here, it also gives you a preview and tells you syntax is okay. If you don't want to use that, I don't ever use this when I type in math. I just try and figure out how to do it over here. Like 2/3, you might guess, as a fraction is 2 divided by 3, x minus 5. Right? It's a lot easier if you can figure out how to type it in. But there's a couple little tricks that you learn as you go. For example, if I want to type in x squared, you can use this drop-down menu and find your power button, right? Or I can figure out that the squared button is the caret key. So x to the power of 2, and it shows you what that means over here. Okay? So that's a little bit of information on how to type stuff in. You'll learn more with that intro assignment and as you go. And then you'll say submit. And this should not be the correct answer. And say no. Okay, 0 out of 1, score in gradebook 0 out of 1. So it gives you another chance, right? So that's good. You get your second attempt here. All right, and you can jump around on the homework problems. They're all pretty much set up the same. Here is graphing a line. So you'll get familiar with these tools. Graph the equation, y equals -5x. So these other tools will come with it as you see, but in this class we only graph lines. So you won't need this parabola tool. You won't need this absolute value tool. You won't need the circle tool. Okay. You can just do the line tool, +1, so it starts here. And you should be going, you'll learn this later. So if you don't know how I'm doing this, don't worry about it. Over 2, down 5, somewhere. Over 2, down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and that should be it. And then you submit. Okay, we got it right. All right, so that's how you graph a line. Pretty straightforward. Like I said, sometimes it's a little frustrating because you don't know how to use the program, but you'll get used to it pretty quickly. Let me go back to the main page here. So that's a real quick review on how you're typing stuff in. The overall outline, again, goes like this. For Chapter 1, 5 homework assignments, 1 quiz, and then you're done with Chapter 1. Chapter 2, 4 homework assignments. There's 4 sections in the textbook that's in Blackboard. Videos that go with all these, that stuff's all in Blackboard. Learning this stuff is in Blackboard. Doing the problems is here in MyOpenMath. And then once you get done the 4 homework assignments, you're ready for Chapter 2 quiz. Okay? There's 3 tests in the course. Every time you complete 2 chapters, you take a test. This test right here will ask you for a password. Well, it should ask you for a password. I got to fix that. When you click on that, it'll prompt you for a password. You don't know the password, so that's why you have to go to the testing center. That's one way I can make you go to the testing center in order to take the test. So test 1 and test 2 will be at the testing center. You log into MyOpenMath. Make sure you bring your username and password, and as well as your ID. That's what you need to take the test at the testing center, and you can take a calculator as well. No notes, but you can use a calculator, and they'll provide scrap paper for you. The practice test here is going to be very similar to your test. Right? So these questions will be very similar. It might be a little bit longer than your test, but if you do these, you should be good on your test. If you can do these and do well on them and get them right, then it's not that different than the test. Okay, so the practice test is the best way to prepare. The practice test is the best way to prepare for the test. Okay. And then you'll be on to Chapter 3, 3 and 4. Same thing, there's homework assignments. Chapter 3 is a little bit longer. And then a quiz. Go on to Chapter 4, factoring. And then a quiz. And then you'll be on to Test 2, which will cover 3 and 4, right? Make sense? And then the final exam. So Test 3, I'm going to let you take it home. So I'll give you the password later. And then you'll take that one at home, and then you have the final exam during final exam week. Okay, practice again. Practice final will be the best review for the practice or for the real final exam. Okay, the last thing I want to talk about before this video is over is your due dates. All right, so if you look at the Chapter 1 due dates, you'll notice that they should all be the same. See this? February 11th, February 11th. They're all February 11th. That doesn't quite match my Google Calendar that you should have access to in Blackboard. If you look here, I have, look, February 4th, 1.1 and 1.1 due. That's not the official due date, right? The real due date is in MyOpenMath. These guys here, that's the real due date. And you can see that on the calendar here, February 11th, you see it says absolute due date, Chapter 1. That's when everything from Chapter 1 is really officially due. Anything after that's late. But I put these on the calendar just to give you a guide of what you should be doing. You should be, in the first 2 weeks, you should be done up to 3 sections. And then finishing off Chapter 1 really after 2 weeks, at the end of 2 weeks. And then start Chapter 2, and then you have 2 weeks to do Chapter 2, and then you're taking your test, okay? So follow this calendar as a guide. The official dates are on the calendar. They're called absolute due dates. Absolute due dates are really what's in MyOpenMath, okay? So I hope that makes sense. I'll explain a little bit later the gradebook. This is where you'll see all of your grades. When you click on gradebook, again, your menu will look a little different, but all your grades will be kept right here in MyOpenMath. And I'll explain that a little bit later once you start filling out some homeworks and some quizzes and you start getting an average grade in there. I hope that makes sense. Anytime you have any questions about any of this stuff, just send me an email, let me know.